In 1922, one empire controlled a quarter of the Earth's land and a quarter of its people. 458 million human beings living under a flag that most of them had never chosen. An empire where people said, "The sun never sets on the British Empire." From the frozen mountains of Canada to the jungles of India, from the deserts of Africa to the islands of the Pacific, the British flag flew across every continent. It became the most powerful empire in human history. Its navy controlled the oceans. Its factories fueled the Industrial Revolution. Its language spread around the world. Its financial institutions shaped global trade. Its laws influenced governments. And its culture reached every corner of the globe. But here's the biggest question. How did a small island nation become the ruler of a quarter of the world? And more importantly, if Britain became so powerful, why did its empire eventually collapse? In today's documentary, we'll explore the incredible rise, global dominance, and dramatic fall of the British Empire. Let's begin. 500 years ago, England was far from being the world's greatest power. Spain and Portugal dominated global exploration. Christopher Columbus had discovered the Americas. Portuguese sailors controlled profitable sea routes to Asia and Africa. England watched from the sidelines. It had fewer colonies, a smaller navy, and much less wealth than its rivals. But English rulers understood something that would change history forever. The future belonged to whoever controlled the oceans. Instead of trying to conquer Europe, England invested in ships. Shipbuilding became a national priority. Explorers sailed farther across the Atlantic. Merchants searched for new markets, and soon England began establishing colonies in North America and the Caribbean. These settlements seemed small at first, but they would become the foundation of an empire unlike anything the world had ever seen. Every great empire needs power. Britain's greatest weapon wasn't its army, it was its navy. The Royal Navy became the strongest naval force in history. British warships protected merchant ships carrying tea, cotton, spices, sugar, silk, and valuable goods from around the world. One of Britain's greatest victories came in 1805 during the Battle of Trafalgar. Led by Admiral Horatio Nelson, the British fleet defeated the combined French and Spanish navies. This victory gave Britain unmatched control of the seas for decades, and whoever controlled the seas controlled global trade. Merchant ships could travel safely. Colonies could be supplied. Enemies struggled to challenge British influence. The ocean became Britain's highway to power. While many nations still relied on farming, Britain entered a new age, the Industrial Revolution. Steam engines powered factories, coal fueled giant machines, railways connected cities, textile mills produced enormous amounts of cloth. Iron production exploded. Factories replaced small workshops. For the first time in history, machines could produce goods much faster and cheaper than human labor alone. This transformed Britain into the world's manufacturing center. Its products were exported across the globe. Its economy expanded rapidly. Its military became stronger because factories could produce weapons, ships, locomotives, and machinery on an unprecedented scale. Industry became the engine behind the empire. No colony was more important than India. Britain called it the jewel in the crown. At first, the British East India Company arrived as a trading company. Its goal was simple: buy spices, silk, cotton, and tea. But over time, trade turned into political influence. Political influence became military control. Following the Indian Rebellion of 1857, the British government assumed direct control of India. British rule introduced railways, telegraphs, modern ports, and new administrative systems. However, colonial rule also involved economic exploitation, political domination, and restrictions on self-government. Many Indians resisted British rule through protests, political movements, and at times armed uprisings. The history of British India remains one of the most debated chapters of the empire, with lasting effects that continue to shape the region today. By the early 20th century, the British Empire had become the largest empire the world had ever known. Its territory stretched across Canada, Australia, New Zealand, India, large parts of Africa, the Middle East, Hong Kong, Singapore, and countless islands around the globe. London became the financial capital of the world. British merchants controlled international trade. The English language spread across continents. British legal systems and parliamentary traditions influenced governments in many parts of the world. At its peak, the empire covered roughly 35 million square kilometers. It was so vast that somewhere within the empire, the sun was always shining. Then came two wars that changed everything: World War I and World War II. Britain helped achieve victory in both conflicts, but victory came at a tremendous cost. Millions of soldiers and civilians died. Cities were damaged. The economy weakened. National debt increased dramatically. At the same time, two new superpowers emerged: the United States and the Soviet Union. Britain remained influential, but it could no longer dominate the world as it once had. After World War II, people across Asia, Africa, and the Caribbean increasingly demanded independence. India became independent in 1947. Pakistan was created the same year. Over the following decades, many other colonies gained independence through negotiations, political movements, and, in some cases, conflict. Britain gradually shifted from governing an empire to building partnerships with independent nations. The age of colonial empires was ending. But if you want the single moment the empire's fantasy of itself dies, it's Suez, 1956. Britain, France, and Israel invade Egypt to grab back the Suez Canal. The United States says no and forces a humiliating retreat. The message lands hard. Britain doesn't get to act like a superpower anymore. That job now belongs to Washington and Moscow. Although the empire ended, its influence did not. Today, English is one of the most widely spoken languages in the world. Many countries continue to use parliamentary democracy, common law legal systems, and institutions influenced by British traditions. The Commonwealth of Nations connects dozens of independent countries with historical ties to Britain. At the same time, the legacy of the empire remains a subject of ongoing discussion. Some point to infrastructure, education, scientific progress, and legal institutions. Others emphasize colonial exploitation, inequality, cultural loss, and the long-term effects of imperial rule. Understanding the British Empire means considering both its achievements and its costs. History is rarely one-sided. Let's wind up the topic. The British Empire began with a handful of ships leaving a small island. Over centuries, it grew into the largest empire the world had ever seen. It transformed trade, changed politics, spread the English language, connected continents, and reshaped global history. Yet, like the Roman Empire, the Ottoman Empire, and every great empire before it, it eventually declined. Not because of a single battle, but because the world changed. Economic pressures, global wars, the rise of new powers, and the determination of people seeking independence all played a role. Today, the British Empire no longer exists, but its influence can still be seen in the languages we speak, the laws we follow, the institutions we build, and the connections between nations. Its story is more than the history of one country. It is the story of how power rises, how it shapes the world, and how, eventually, even the greatest empires come to an end. If you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for Skywatch World. Every week, we explore the greatest empires, civilizations, scientific discoveries, and world-changing events that shaped our history. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next documentary.